So the framework of the week is currently Remix, and we're going to go through the tutorial here and see what it's like. I've been pleasantly surprised. So we're just going to set it up here, install dependencies, generate the project skeleton. Let's just go through the page. This is all set up. Just going to go into this generated project with Visual Studio Code and also test that it's running. You can see there that some routes haven't been set up yet. So they have this thing called the root.tsx, which is the sort of start of the application entry point. Also, we're loading in some styles here. So we're going to import these styles into the project using the Remix way. So they have this thing called links and some sort of link function where you pass in paths and then it will download them at runtime. Nice thing is it doesn't bundle it into the JavaScript, so you can actually look at it on the network tab, which is a very nice developer experience. There's less magic. As you can see the CSS there. And there it is also in the build folder. So what we want to do is we want to create this dummy this contact component, and that's going to render in the outlet nested root. So we're going to create this file here with a dynamic segment, which will be the what's after the dollar sign. So we'll have contact/ID, and that'll be the outlet for the contacts. So let's just restart the server. npm dev or npm dev is kind of the same thing. So when it's not found, and when the outlet is not going to be showing anything either because we need to add outlet to the project. We're also going to copy in the code for the contacts here, and we'll use this dummy contact just to check it works. Have a picture of a cat. Nothing happens there when we visit contacts. So we're using React Outer, and we'll recognize the outlet there. I'm going to stick that under next to the sidebar. And now we should see that cat picture. There we go. The nested root is working, and it's got a dynamic segment. So we need to now load the correct picture for that dynamic segment, 1 or 2, etc. Yeah, so we don't want to basically reload the whole page. We want to use JavaScript when it's available to load in the new data. So we're going to use this thing called link, which will handle that for us. So it wraps up that functionality. Let's just add that to our code. Let's import this. So now we should only see the required data loading in the network tab, not everything every time we refresh. So loader is like the server-side data. This actually gets stripped out from the client side. So this is on the server-side code, this loader stuff. So it's an asynchronous thing, and that gets loaded every time we visit this route or the data changes in the contacts. So we'll get onto actions soon, but actions will invalidate the loader data, so Saves you a lot of time having to wire up things with like set state, or like with SolidJS you had to basically use signals and wrap all that stuff up. So that's a load of data contacts, but we've got some type errors here. So basically we need to add, we're going to have to type this properly at some point. So we're using the server-side data there, and we're going to get the type format now. Let's copy this code into the nav. So we're dynamically generating the nav based on the load of data. And that's what we see. Yep, so basically Visual Studio Code is going to be complaining because it's not going to recognize the type of the contact. So we're going to basically get the type of the load of data so that we can not have any errors on the contact usages, so it knows what it's dealing with. Don't know why iPhone went on there. So that'll get rid of some TypeScript errors. Right, so now we need to read the parameters and use that to get the correct data when we switch to whatever we select. And yeah, so this is going to basically get the stuff from the params in the cat component, or the contact component. It's going to load it and then update or render it. We'll have a strongly typed on there as well. There we go. So it's a change now. So we still have some TypeScript errors which we're going to have to deal with, because there's like situations where you might have the wrong ID, or you might not be able to load, or missing ID, or you might have nothing matching the ID. So we're going to have to handle that with some really nice TypeScript features. So we basically want to do type narrowing. I'm just going to commit what we have so far. Right, so this thing called invariant is beyond the subject of this, but basically it type narrows, basically checks to see if something's false, and then anything after that it expects to be truthful. So this is going to basically checking to see if we have contact ID in the parameter of the URL, and then we won't have errors later on saying, oh, you're missing this so and so ID. So we basically want to check that first. And then the next thing is basically we don't want the root to render if there's like a missing, if there's no data for that contact, so there's nobody matching it. So we basically want to throw not found, and then the rest of the TypeScript won't say this possibly be null. So you see all these red lines disappear once we add in that not contact and then throw not found. See how the red lines in contact below? That'll be gone once we add that code. There we go. So this is so clean. Like, I spent so much time SolidJS trying to get rid of these kind of TypeScript errors, but that's really, really cool. I really like that. Really awesome so far. Right, so basically now we want to deal with like form actions, delete, post, get. And the really cool thing about Remix is that it will work without JavaScript because of the way it's doing this stuff here. So we want to be able to post some updates to a contact. So what we can do is we create an action that will listen to any form submits. And the forms automatically update as well once you you submit it, because that's the way the loaders work. They basically look at to see if an action's been called. let's just make an edit component and then we'll allow the data to be submitted. Just going to paste this in here. Right. Click edit, and then we can go in here, and now we need to add an action handler for it. Okay, so we're going to basically reuse these invariant type things. So I'm going to go in and create this action on the edit route here, which will then modify the update, call update contact, and that will update all the data that's using that. Just checking some types here. So let's just test that out to see if that works. Let's just put Nikos in here, and yeah, it works. Cool. Cool, so we want to redirect now once we update something. So we want to get out of the edit screen. You guys can all probably read this stuff in detail or pause it if I'm going too fast here. Okay, so one thing we should do when we create a new record is to redirect to the edit page. So what we'll do here is we'll redirect once we create a new contact. We'll basically get the contact ID and then we'll go to the edit page. Let's try that out. Import the redirect. Right, so clicking new gets us a new thing there, and we'll be able to save it. And now that exists. Cool. So we want basically the links to be styled based on what's active, and so they have this sort of neat way of recognizing the route of the nav matches what's in the URL. So let's just add that in. Really nice time saving, reducing the amount of code we have to write ourselves for this stuff. So I'm just going to replace that link with the nav link if I can find it. There it is there. I just want to replace the tag, nothing inside, I think, yep. Let's replace that and then just prettierify it once I just update that one. There we go. And now once we import this, then it should recognize that is active and pending deconstruction. That method parsed in there, I think. I need to import that, don't I? Yep. Cool. TypeScript recognizes it too. Just checking some types there. So expecting something in the UI to change when we click on the route. Cool, there we go. Looking good. I wouldn't say this is a 30-minute tutorial. This is more like an hour-long tutorial. Depends, I guess, how familiar you are with Remix. Some background reading. That was a little unresponsive when I click between the list. Actually, I'm not really finding that because it seems pretty instantaneous to me. Yeah, I'm not really sure what they're on about there. Anyway, let's just see what they wanted us to do. What this loading thing. So use navigation. If there's a like transition of a route, then there's like a navigation property that we can check. So navigation.state, I guess. So basically we check to see if this thing is loading. And we can set a class name loading, I guess, there. Next to the detail. Okay, it's in the div. Nothing changed. So we add loading if we're not idle. Okay, it's adding a fade. Okay, I see. So it's fading in something and out. So it's not really fading in and out when it's jumping in between those ones. I guess if it was longer, it would fade in and out. It's kind of like a global pending API, so I guess it'll work for different routes. Longer routes than that one. So let's go on to deleting records. So we need a handler. Well, I'm going to change that button that says delete and add an action destroy. I'll add a handler for that. So they've already given that inside of the contact edit, I think. Or just the contact, yeah. So action will be delete. Okay, destroy. And that should match up with the destroy method somewhere else. The action point should destroy. We can take a relative value. Relative action of destroy will submit the form to contact destroy when clicked. So that destroy is in that. Where is that? Okay, let's just do it. Add an action to the root. So where are we? We want to go. Okay. Let's create this file. Contact destroy. So we add a dot destroy on top of the dynamic segment, and then we just stick in this action inside of that destroy component. It's kind of weird that it's TSX, but also the conventions are pretty cool. So So it's a TSX, but it's like not got any JSX inside of it. So let's restart the app here. Delete. Alright, it's gone. That action worked. Nice one. So prevent default. Format action destroy matches the new route there. And then after the action redirects, it calls a loader for the data on the page to get the latest values. Nice. So we need to add a default index route now. So let's put underscore index. Nice. Pretty straightforward. So if they click cancel now on the edit form, we just want to go back to where they were before. So we'll do that by adding the navigate -1. That's pretty neat because you can essentially come in from anywhere, like, or to save us having to hard code where to go back to. If they click cancel. So cancel is underneath the submit. There we go. And format it. Let's try it out. Sweet. So now we want to be able to search for things. So that actually is a component that when we type into it and submit it, it changes the URL. Neat. So it's in the root. Up there. So it's just a type search, and that's the form that we import, and it handles the type search. So this is saving us a lot of time to hand code this. These conventions are really powerful. So basically we want to get that data from the URL and get a contact from it. So let's just put that code in there. So when that changes, whether it's a page refresh or an actual, I guess, enter on that form, it should then update the contact with what we get in the loader function. I mean, it should change what contacts are shown, which it works, which is cool. See that? That's pretty powerful. So the nav contact loader. Yeah. Great, great, great. So because the get, remix is not called a function action, submit the get. Search params. Submitting a get from is the same as clicking a link. Only the URL changes. Also means it's normal page navigation. So you go back and forth. So there's issues with the synchronization now. So we need to make sure that whatever's in that search field is like what matches the URL and the displayed items. So you can see there, like they're not matching up. So we want the refresh to work, so we need to, in a sense, read what's in the search params and return that, and use that to write that value to the form. So I want to get Q there and then assign that as a default value to the search. Let's just do that. That means when we refresh page, the input will show what's in the URL. Default value for the input. Let's just check to see that works. That's a React default value feature. Right, so here when we're typing and we want to update as we type, so we can read that Q changing, and then we can call the loader. Or we can sort of fake the submit. Right, so as we type, we want to basically update as we type the list without submitting it. So we can do that without submitting by using this thing called use submit, which allows us to arbitrarily call submit when we like. So what we can do is we can just on use effect, I believe. No, we'll do it. When will we do it? Let's see what they say. So the import use submit, and then on change, they're submitting what the value is. Okay. So at that, as they type, they're going to get a submit to that get, which we'll then call the loader. So on change, on that form, we just submit the current target, which is the input there. So is that working? Yes, it is. Great. Got that in sync now. So what we can do now is in between routes, if there's a delay, we can add like a spinner class. So that basically the navigation.location. If the data is taking time to come back, the loader function, then the location will be truthful, and then we can do the spinner. So we just basically check to see that we have a search item there queue, and then we have the searching boolean that we can use in the class list for the search input, which will be nice and elegant. But we have to basically fake that. It's already faked, I believe. The get contacts has like a time at 500 milliseconds. So let's use that in the class list for the input. So let's find that input, search input. Let's put in a boolean there. Let's check to navigate in between routes. And we need to allow the spinner to check to see if it's loading to enable it. So we need to add some logic for the spinner now. I think at the moment it's just hidden equals true. Where is the spinner hidden true? Yes, we need to add in a check for loading, searching. Alright, there's a spinner working there. Great, that's really elegant. Conventions are so well thought of here. And there's the timeout for that get contacts. That's why the spinner is spinning, because that route change navigation is waiting for all the data to come back before the location is updated. Cool. So there's some thing fading out here. Yeah, that's not ideal. We don't want that fading in and out when we're typing. So what we can do is basically add a check into the fade out thing. Okay, we don't want to be toggling the fade if we're searching. Still fading out. I'll restart the server. No, maybe I've not copied the code correctly. I'll just copy the code. I'm not searching. Alright, cool, it's not doing that fade out anymore when we're searching. Nice. So we don't want the history stack to be basically polluted. So if you've been with me so far, well done. We're coming near the end of the tutorials. So now we want to do stuff with actions, and we don't want to have a navigation. So it's going to be useful for like a star button. So if we go to our components component, we can use this thing called fetcher. Interacts with root loaders and actions without causing navigation. Great for any interaction that stays on the same page. So we wrap the button in this method post. It used to be a form. Okay. The form no longer causes navigation, but simply fetch to the action speaker, which we won't work until we create the action. Create the action. So okay, let's test that. Cool, we didn't see it on there. Saw it on there. Okay, bit of a delay. That's cool. Both there's automatic update. Yes, we did find it slow. So what is that doing? The fetcher knows the form data to be submitted to the action, so it's available to you on fetcher form data. We'll use that to immediately update the start state even though the framework hasn't finished. Okay, that's quite magical. Oh, sweet. Nice. I noticed that the one on this one wasn't as fast as that one there. See that? Cool. Well, thanks so much for watching this tutorial video. If you liked it, please leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment too. Helps engagement, helps when people find these videos. Thanks so much for watching. See ya.